My beloved child, it pains me deeply to tell you this. You can no longer remain where you have always been. Gather your belongings quickly, for little time remains before I take you far away. Do not delay, for this journey does not wait for your readiness. It must happen, and I know your heart never imagined leaving so swiftly. At times I must compel you to step away from what you love most. I bring an end to what you thought would last forever. And when I close a door, darkness often comes before the light, so that you may learn to trust that even absence itself is part of my design. You have grown used to believing that loss is punishment. Each time a relationship ends, you hastily conclude that I no longer love you, that you are unworthy of keeping what is good. But I tell you this, my love is not measured by the presence of people in your life, but by the way I guide you through both presence and absence. I must sometimes remove what you cannot release, not from hatred, but to clear the way for the new chapter ahead. You have believed the worth of love lies in holding on for as long as possible. But love is not always grasping tightly. At times, love is letting go, allowing something to leave your hand without leaving your memory. You feel wounded, yet I see liberation. You feel loss, yet I see an empty hand ready to receive something greater. If you cling too long, what you call comfort will turn into chains, slowing you down while I am urging you forward into destiny. I know you fear emptiness. That fear whispers that once they are gone, you will be alone, unseen, and abandoned. But emptiness is not death, it is where I draw near. You do not realize that what is taken away is my answer to the prayer you once whispered. Shape me, lead me in the path you desire. And this is that answer, not sweet but complete. Departure is not abandonment, my child. It is a necessary step within the plan I have written for your life. You see only today, but my eyes behold the whole journey. Each time I cut something away, it is not a sign that I forget you, but proof that I remember what you need better than you do. If you focus only on the wound, you will accuse me of cruelty. But if you look ahead, you will see I am preparing a better place for you. Do not mistake my actions, for my love has not lessened, only your path has been redirected toward the blessing I have ordained. I know your heart falters when a door closes, especially one you never wanted shut. You see departure as proof you are unloved, as though I have forgotten the promise engraved upon your heart. But my silence is not abandonment, and my hand withdrawn is not rejection. Like a father guiding his child, I sometimes must pull you from what you treasure, not to hurt you, but because continuing would wound you far worse. You may blame me, but remember this. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a future and a hope, Jeremiah 2:9-11. You have often asked, if you truly love me, why take away what I need? But you do not see that what you call need may only be the illusion of dependence. You see only the present while I see the long road ahead. I see turns you cannot imagine, pitfalls you cannot foresee, and I know certain bonds, if held too long, will weigh you down. You feel safe in a familiar embrace, but I see clearly how that rope would become a chain. I cut not out of rejection, but out of mercy. You will never recognize this until you learn to stand upon your own feet, upheld by my arms alone. Look back and you will see how often you sought affirmation from others more than from me. Their words warmed you more than my promises. You believed human affection could replace the firmness of the divine. But my child, I am jealous for. My love for you cannot be shared with any rival. When I remove a relationship, it is not your ending, it is your beginning again with me. You once prayed for maturity, for courage, for a life of meaning. This severing is that answer. I strip away what you thought was your support, so that you may hold only to me. In that aching gap you will discover I am your true refuge. Do you know why the pain feels so fierce? Because you never imagined losing. You built a nest in another's palm and called it home, yet you forgot that your true home is in me, not in the fragile heart of mortal flesh. I allow you to hurt, but not to despair. I allow your tears, but I, myself, wipe them away. I let you feel the void, but I step in to fill it. If you turn from fear and lift your eyes to me, you will see that every departure has been counted within love and none of it is random. What I remove from your hands is never without purpose. Each closing is to shield you from paths you cannot yet see. Remember, not everyone can journey with you to the end. Some walk beside you for only a season, then must turn another way. You may feel strange, even hollow, when they no longer walk with you, but it is my arrangement. The long road belongs not to all, but to those I have chosen to go with you until the finish. And in their leaving, I want you to learn this truth. Blessing lies not in holding on to someone, but in holding tightly to my hand on every path. I know your heart longs for those who once held your hand to stay until the end. But you must awaken, for not everyone is destined to remain throughout your life. Some are appointed only for a season, and when that season ends, they must depart. If you cling, their presence turns to burden rather than blessing. Like a bird soaring across the sky, it delights you while it flies freely. But if you cage it, it will no longer sing, only leave wounds in your hand. You often mistake someone's leaving as proof I have forsaken you, but in truth, it is simply the natural close of a chapter I have already completed. Look back and see not every bond was meant to bear fruit forever. At first I may send someone to lift you when you fall, to dry your tears when you are weary. But their role ends once you are stronger, and holding them beyond that point only stalls your steps. You once found peace in their presence, but true peace never comes from man, it comes from me. The more you cling, the more you hurt. Worse still, you risk no longer hearing my voice beneath their familiar call. That is why I must be decisive. As Jesus said, no one can serve two masters, for he will hate the one and love the other. Matthew 6:2-4. If you let loyalty to people replace obedience to me, you will stray from the path. I do not condemn your loyalty, for it is a seed I myself planted. But I want you to understand, loyalty must be guided by spiritual wisdom, not by clinging emotion. Some companions are good for a season, but in time their presence becomes hindrance. Instead of urging you to grow, they keep you bound in the familiar, avoiding risk, resisting transformation. You feel safe with them, but that safety is only a thin veil hiding the destiny I prepared. If you remain, you will be like seed fallen on rocky ground, sprouting quickly yet never bearing fruit. Do you not see? You are locking yourself in a golden cage, beautiful to the eye, yet confining to your soul. Be brave enough to let go, my child. You can love without possessing, you can give thanks without grasping. When I tell you to stop, it is not betrayal of affection, it is obedience to a greater love. Bless those who leave, for their part in your story is complete. Do not force them into roles I never wrote for them. Trust that when your hand is empty, I will place within it something new, something more fitting. And you will find peace in knowing that true love is not always in holding on, but in releasing at the right time. I want you to love as I love, generously, unselfishly, willing to give without claiming possession. You will come to see this truth sometimes. The absence of a person is my way of calling you closer to me. They leave so they no longer stand in a place reserved for me alone. Your pain is real, I do not deny it. But if you allow it to teach you, you will find that emptiness is the space where I dwell fully. And then you will no longer hear their voice first, but learn to hear mine before all. That is when you step into maturity, not through many companions, but through knowing you cannot be without me. Then you will understand misplaced dependence weakens you, but dependence placed in me alone makes you unshakable. My beloved, I know you find comfort more quickly in human embrace than in my presence. When your heart trembles, you seek a gentle voice to soothe you. When your soul is weary, you long for an embrace to steady you. This is not wrong, for I created you with the need to be loved. But it grieves me when you believe human presence can replace me. You have leaned more on them than on me, and so when they depart, your inner world collapses. Understand this, my child, any dependence not placed rightly will soon become a burden, and nothing topples you faster than building your life upon the fragile heart of man. Think of the times when you sought someone's praise before seeking my word. There were moments you waited for their affirmation that you were right, instead of asking me what the truth really was. Without realizing it, you allowed them to become a compass for your choices. Yet you did not know that what they spoke often came only from fleeting emotions unable to reflect my eternal will. That is why when you listened to them, you sometimes lost your way. and wondered why I seemed silent, but I was always there. It was only that you hastily chose to hear the nearer voice instead of lifting your eyes to seek me. As Scripture says, the fear of man brings a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is kept safe. Proverbs 2:9-5. When you lean on the wrong foundation, collapse is inevitable. I do not condemn you for your weakness, but I long for you to awaken and see the danger of relying too heavily on others. When you look to them as your comfort, you give them a place that belongs only to me. This not only leads you astray, but also exhausts them, for no one can carry the vast emptiness within your soul. The more you cling, the more weary they become. The more you depend, the more they want to pull away. Not because they are unkind, but because you are placing upon them a burden that was never theirs to bear. I desire to free you from this cycle so that you may find the unshakable safety that is found only in me. Therefore, stop searching for life in fragile vessels. Return to me, the living water, the only one who can satisfy the deepest thirst within you. When you put your whole trust in me, you will not fear when someone turns away, nor panic when a relationship ends. You will learn to love without turning love into dependency. You will learn to honor without turning honor into chains. Let me teach you how to grow so you may love others in freedom, not in bondage. And you will see, once your roots are anchored in me, every loss will feel like only a gentle shift, never strong enough to uproot you. My child, when you let me take my rightful place, you will realize that silence is no longer frightening, but becomes the space I use to speak. The absence of someone will no longer feel like a deep pit, but rather soil where faith can take root. From the very places of your weakness, I will cause new strength to spring forth. From where you once trembled, I will make you stand firm, and then you will understand it is precisely when I strip away false supports that you gain room for me to become your only foundation. That is when you are prepared to step into a new reality where emptiness is no longer your enemy but a cradle for my presence. I know how your heart trembles when faced with emptiness after separation. You see absence as a devouring void, as a night with no way out. You shudder, believing it means you have lost everything. But listen to me, it is within that very emptiness that I desire to make myself known more clearly than ever. You cannot hear my voice amidst too much noise. You cannot feel my embrace when surrounded by too many others. This is why I allow separation, so that the empty space becomes the place where I enter quietly yet profoundly. Ask yourself, why does emptiness hurt you so much? Because you have long filled your heart with another's presence. Instead of letting me be at the center, you treated others as your source of life, so when they disappeared, you felt bereft. Yet in truth, that was only the unveiling of false props you had clung to. Emptiness is not the end, but a transition, a threshold between what is closed and what is yet to open. In that stillness, I can etch my image deeper into your heart. As the psalmist wrote, "Be still and know that I am God," Psalm 4:6-10. Only when you have nothing left to grasp will you truly see who it is that holds you. Beloved, instead of fearing the void, embrace it as an invitation. I do not abandon you in the silence. I wait for you to recognize that I am enough. If you quiet your soul, you will hear my voice more clearly than ever. In the long nights when you feel unheard, it is I who whisper to your spirit. In the days when you wander lost, it is I who shine as a small but unwavering light, guiding you through the dark. Emptiness is only fearful when you try to fill it with human voices. But once you open it to me, it will become the dwelling place of peace and strength. So step out of your anxieties and face the emptiness with eyes of trust. Give me the place you once gave others. Let silence teach you that faith is not built on fleeting feelings, but on the truth that I am always near. You will discover that loneliness is no longer a shadow, but the proving ground of faith. When you allow me to fill, all your heart will be steadfast, and you will know that I alone complete every lack. Do not run away, do not hastily patch the void with substitutes, for that only wears you down in endless circles. Let me do what I will within that space, and you will see sweet fruit spring forth from what seemed only ashes. My child, from this emptiness you will learn to stand on a foundation that cannot be shaken. Here your faith will take root, grow, and become strong. And when you have learned to walk with me in the silence, you will be ready for a new season where I turn loss into harvest. For the painful pruning of today is not an end, but preparation for tomorrow's abundance. Let the emptiness guide you, for it is the door I am opening into a greater reality. I know there are wounds that make you feel you can never rise again. You look at your loss and believe all is ruined. But hear me, not a single cut in my hands is in vain. You may see only blood and tears, but I see the shoots of life about to break forth. Like the vine pruned of green branches that seemed so full of vigor, only to yield even richer fruit in the next season, so I am working in your life. I permit pain not to bury you, but to prepare you for a greater harvest. You may ask, why would you take away what once bloomed so brightly in my life? Remember, not every branch bears fruit forever. Some things are beautiful only for a season, but if left, they will drain life and hinder growth. You see only outward beauty, but I see the fruit of tomorrow. Like the wise gardener, I know where to cut and when. And I know each time the blade touches your heart contracts in pain, but that very pain is what clears the way for something better. As Jesus taught, every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. And every branch that bears fruit, he prunes that it may bear more fruit. John 1:5-2. Pruning is the proof that you still belong to me, for I never waste care on a useless tree. Be honest with yourself, and you will see that many times you hold on not because it is fruitful, but because you fear emptiness. You want to keep old habits, old relationships, even when they no longer nourish your soul. You think holding on is safe, but in truth, it is what keeps you from growing. I must intervene, or else you would remain trapped in meaningless cycles. Notice it is in the very moments of loss and pain that your heart opens wide enough for me to plant new seeds. Pain is not the period, but the beginning of transformation. Do not run when I prune. See it as an opportunity for your faith to be tested. When you endure pain and still trust, when you weep yet still cling to me, your soul grows stronger than ever. I do not ask you to pretend it does not hurt, but I invite you to let the pain become an altar where I move. Say, Lord, I do not understand, but I trust you. And in that very moment, you are sowing the first seeds of tomorrow's harvest. You may not see it immediately, but in time you will know every wound today blooms into sweetness in the days to come. And one day you will look back and smile. You will see that nothing I took away was meant to remain, and everything I gave instead was worth the waiting. You will thank me for every tear that fell, for every hand I made you release. Then you will understand that pruning was never judgment, but the sign of my love. And from that love you will step into a harvest overflowing with fruit, not only for yourself, but for those around you. For what I do in you has never been only for you, but so that through you others may also touch my blessing. Walk on with gratitude, for today's pruning is only the prelude to tomorrow's wholeness, and from here your journey will enter a new season where joy shines not in spite of tears, but through what you once lost. My child, I want you to learn to see beyond the fleeting emotions of the moment. I know your heart still bleeds, the wounds still fresh, but believe that this cut is not to destroy you, but to open a new flow of life. I do not want you chained to endless questions. Why did they leave? Why must I suffer this loss? Why did what I treasured fade away? Those questions only keep you circling in your own darkness, while I am leading you to a broader horizon where light can break through and heal. The more you struggle, the tighter the cords will wound you. But when you yield, you will find freedom as light as breath and peace flowing like a stream through parched ground. You often mistake love as the same as holding on. But I tell you truly, real love is never the same as clinging. Sometimes love is the courage to let go, to allow another to walk the path I have written for them. The more you force them into your story, the more you both lose your way. You have not yet realized that some roles are meant only for a season, like a lamp that lights only one stretch of road, not the entire journey. When you understand this, you will no longer see departure as betrayal, but as part of the divine dance where each step, each rhythm is arranged by my surpassing wisdom. I do not deny that memories will cling to you. There will be nights when you lie down and still hear their laughter echoing in your mind. There will be days when you pass familiar places and images of the past flood back like a torrent. but do not let memory become a chain. You have the right to remember, the right to thank me for what was, but you do not have the right to let the past steal the future I have prepared. Each time memory pulls you back, turn it into gratitude. Lord, thank you for giving me that season, and thank you for closing it so I can walk forward. When you are grateful, memory becomes a seed, not a burden. It will blossom into fruit instead of pulling you under. My child, look deeply into your own heart. Have you relied on the eyes of others to determine your worth? Have you waited for their approval to feel that your life had meaning? You have allowed your heart to rest too heavily on fragile ground. And when that ground gave way, you too were shaken. I permitted that collapse to happen not to drown you, but so that you might learn to build upon the solid rock that is me. If you continue clinging to what cannot endure, you will remain forever weak. But when you turn back and lay the foundation of your life upon me, you will become unshakable no matter how fierce the storms may be. As the psalm declares, He alone is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress. I will never be shaken. Psalm 6:2. My beloved, I do not want you to view separation as a sentence. See it instead as a lesson, as a turning point written in love. When you dare to believe that I am the one holding the pen, you will discover that every chapter has its purpose. Today your page may be soaked with tears, but tomorrow it will be written with the radiance of light. You will come to understand that no loss occurs outside my plan, and no emptiness exists that I cannot fill. Lift your eyes and recognize that what I am preparing surpasses anything you have just left behind. I call you, do not let your heart wander in regret. Do not allow your mind to drift in what if and if only. Such illusions carry no life. They only drain your strength. Step firmly into the present, for it is here that I am at work. Believe that you are not abandoned, but led. As you walk in, trust pain will gradually give way to peace, and peace will open the path to new joy. This is not a joy that merely replaces, but one that runs deeper, the joy of knowing you remain in my embrace, even when someone else has walked away. You may think that you need much time to recover, but truly healing does not come from time. It comes from letting me do my work. Time may close the wound, but only I can make it bear fruit. If you resist, you will find the wound harden into scarred bitterness. But if you open your heart, the wound will become a testimony declaring that I once stepped in and turned sorrow into life. Allow me to renew. Allow me to remove grief and replace it with strength that no one can take from you. My child, do not remain trapped in pain. Look further, trust deeper. Every loss is only a stepping stone bringing you closer to what I have promised. You cannot yet see the whole picture, but you can trust that my hand does not tremble as it paints. Trust my decisiveness even when it makes you weep. Not one of your tears is wasted, for I hold them in my hand. One day, out of those very tears will bloom flowers of comfort, maturity, and a steadfast faith that cannot be shaken. And remember, this journey is not over. What I take away is not a full stop, but a comma leading to the next line. From here you will enter a new season, a season of restoration, of unexpected joy, of new people I will place in your life. Walk forward, do not look back. Behind you may linger echoes, but before you shines light. Move ahead with faith, for I go before you to prepare the way, and I follow behind to protect you. You will never be alone. And in each step you will discover that all I do is woven from the thread of love, a love that never abandons you. My beloved, let your heart rest in this truth. The closing of a relationship does not erase its meaning. The days shared, the smiles exchanged, the words of comfort spoken in the night, all were real and were used by me to sustain you for a time. They are like candles that lit the room you walked through in darkness, and just because you have stepped into dawn does not mean the candles never burned. Do not deceive yourself into thinking those moments were worthless, but do not imprison your soul in longing either. Gratitude is not possession. It is the smile of remembrance and thanksgiving even when your hands are empty. I do not ask you to deny memories, but I invite you to surrender them to me, so they may become stepping stones that lead you onward, not stumbling blocks that hold you back. I know your heart longs to cling. Human instinct fears loss, so you try to hold tightly, believing that grasping can preserve. But my child, some doors, once I close them, no hand can force open again. If you push against them, both you and the other will be wounded. You will find yourself like one knocking endlessly at a locked gate until your hand bleeds, only to realize it is not because I forgot you, but because I love you too much to let you enter where no blessing remains. I never imprison you, but I guard you from paths that would cause you to lose yourself. What I close is never to destroy, but to protect. Thus, the departure of someone in your life is not a sentence of doom, but a hedge of safety, a sign that I am still guarding your way. You have asked why I allow those who once comforted you to leave, but look more closely. If someone remained forever, you would grow used to leaning on them and forget me. Their presence could mislead you into thinking they were your source of strength, when in truth only I am your foundation. Can you see? Each time you cling too tightly, your heart slowly turns that person into a pillar meant only for me to bear. That is when I must act firmly, not because I want you to lose, but because I want you to be free. I created you to depend solely on my love, not on a limited human being. The loss you feel today is my reminder that you have strayed from the source of life, and it is time to return. Think of a seed buried deep in the soil. Before it can sprout, it must decay, surrendering its hard shell. If it refuses to let go of its old form, it will never become the tree that flowers and bears fruit. Your life is the same. Every loss, every emptiness I allow is my way of stripping away the old shell so new life may emerge. You may think absence is destruction, but truly it is the beginning of transformation. I do not intend to leave you broken in ashes. I intend to make the ashes fertile soil. The more you allow yourself to be buried in me, the stronger you will rise. Therefore, let gratitude guide you, gratitude for what has been, and gratitude for the decisive work I am doing today. Do not forget, just as I fed Israel in the wilderness with fresh manna each day, I will not let you starve when you leave behind the old. Each day I will provide what you need if you will release the stale bread to receive the living bread from my hand. If you cling to the old, it will rot, corrupting you. But if you trust, you will see, my provision never fails. Remember what is written, He has made everything beautiful in its time. Ecclesiastes 3:1-1. Beauty is not found in how long something lasts, but in its perfect fulfillment at the appointed moment. My beloved, stop blaming yourself or them. Separation is not failure, it is my design. Do not look back with bitterness, but see the past as a curriculum I used to shape your soul. Those I bring into your life, whether briefly or for many years, are teachers in a classroom. Some lessons end swiftly, others take years, but none are meaningless. When the bell rings, you cannot keep the teacher, but you can keep the wisdom. In the same way, let their departure not close your heart, but enrich it with experience and deepen it in faith. Learn to pray for those who have walked out of your life. When you bless them, you release yourself. You will feel lightness knowing that the hand leading you is the same hand guiding them. I am Lord of both you and them, and I will complete my work in each as I have ordained. You need not bear the burden of keeping them near, for I am the keeper. If you continue clinging, you will only exhaust yourself. But if you entrust them to me, peace will overflow, for you will know that both they and you are cared for in the same unchanging love. Do not fear the emptiness, for it will not consume you. The emptiness is not an enemy, but the space I prepare to fill myself more fully. Do you not realize that only in loss have you heard my voice more clearly? My voice resounds in the stillness, no longer drowned by others. My arms open wider when no one else intrudes upon the place that belongs to me alone. You have sought comfort in other embraces, but now I invite you to find peace in mine, the arms that have never let you go. So stop resisting, stop struggling against the work I am doing. Each time you cling, you prolong the pain. But each time you yield, you open the way for peace to pour in. I know your tears will still fall. I do not forbid them, but I promise I will wipe each one and turn them into seeds for a harvest to come. Trust me. My child, for my love has never changed. It is stronger than fear, more enduring than loss, and everlasting without fading. And one day you will look back not in choking sorrow, but in gratitude. You will understand that nothing I remove is ever left unreplaced by something greater. You will smile at the faces that once passed through, thankful for the marks they left on your journey, yet no longer pained by their absence. You will learn to love without binding, to cherish without possessing, to release without resentment. And in that freedom you will step into the new season I have prepared, the season where blessings shine unshadowed by regret, radiant in the light of hope. My child, I see how easily your heart falls into complaint each time a door closes. In the darkness of loss, you tell yourself that someone has betrayed you, that they deserve blame for turning away. But I say to you, do not let those bitter thoughts take root in your soul. The one who left is not your enemy, nor are they the hand that cut short your path. It is I who ordained the time for closure, because I see what you do not yet see. They only walked the portion of the road meant for them, and at that moment I drew them into another chapter, while you must continue in the chapter I have written for you. The more you search for faults, the more you sink into the mire of bitterness, while I long to lead you into a place of freedom. I know that separation always leaves wounds that throb within. You had grown used to their presence, their voice, their companionship, until the moment all of it was gone and you felt the ground beneath you cracking. But do not know it is precisely in that emptiness that I come closer than ever before. I do not ask you to understand completely, for my wisdom is far beyond your narrow grasp. I only long for you to bow your head in trust, even when your eyes cannot yet see the way. Trust does not mean knowing every reason. It means letting your heart find rest in my hand, the hand that never lets you go. Remember, sometimes the very things you think you cannot live without are the ones that prevent you from receiving what I have promised. There will be moments when you wrestle with endless questions that carry no answers. Why did they leave? Why did I allow it to happen? Why did what you trusted collapse? The more you dig, the darker it feels around you. But I tell you, there are mysteries that belong to the eternal, and my silence is an invitation for you to learn how to trust even when you do not understand. Like a child holding their father's hand in the night, they do not need to know how the road bends ahead. They only need to know that hand has never let go. So too, I want you to steady your heart, not by explanations, but by trust. I am the one who knows the beginning and the end, who counts your every breath. Would I ever lead you into destruction? I know how easily anger rises when loss comes suddenly, yet anger, my child, only drains you further. It is like drinking poison and waiting for another to die. Forgiveness and release, on the other hand, open the door to peace. Learn to see them as ones who have finished their part in your life. They once brought laughter, shared burdens, offered comfort, all gifts I gave you for a season. Now that the season has ended, you can give thanks for what was received, rather than accuse over what was lost. You will find your soul lighter when you choose blessing over cursing, forgiveness over resentment. You must understand, every season in life has boundaries I have set. No one can remain forever in the same chapter. If you cling desperately to keep them near, you will never step into the new journey. You would be like a traveler who lingers too long at an inn, forgetting that the road ahead remains. You need courage to rise, release them, and walk on. You are not alone, for I go before you to prepare the way. I also walk behind you, guarding your back from what still clings. Your part is only to look forward, not backward in regret. For the more you look back, the slower your steps, and you will miss the newness I have already prepared. Remember, true love is not always about holding on at all costs. Sometimes love is release, when I say the time has come. I do not want you to turn a relationship into an idol, placing it equal with me. For then, instead of helping you grow, it becomes a chain to bind you. It is I, in jealous and pure love, who will free you from ties that are sweet yet dangerous. And when you let go, you will see clearly I never take away without already preparing something far better. True trust is tested when you must walk in the dark. It requires no faith to walk a brightly lit path, but it does require faith to keep walking through the night while believing the dawn will come. When I lead you away from the familiar, you may feel lonely, but it is your opportunity to discover that I am enough for you. You need no further proof beyond the love I displayed on the cross. You may not understand why I close a door, but you can be certain that the hands once stretched wide to embrace all humanity will never abandon you. Therefore, lay aside complaint, lay aside anger. Let go of what no longer belongs to you. Do not try to stitch back the pieces I have cut away. Instead, offer the emptiness to me, that I may fill it with my dwelling. In the place of absence, I will give my presence. In your tears I will plant joy. In your pain I will release new strength, and you will come to know all I have done was never to destroy you, but to build you into the fullest expression of my design. You will see that when you dare to release, your heart finds freedom. When anger no longer binds you, your hands open to receive the new. And when you choose trust, my peace will pour out, surpassing all reasoning. You will stop seeing departure as failure and begin to see it as a turning point in your growth. Let faith guide you beyond what eyes perceive, and let your heart rest in my keeping. You are moving through a season that is closing, but ahead lies the harvest I have appointed, where you will see the fruit of perseverance, of tears, and of faith. I know, my child, how your heart trembles at the thought of farewell. You are unaccustomed to sudden partings. You wish everything could fade gently so your soul might adapt. But I do not act according to your patterns. My ways are higher, and my love is different. Sometimes delay only deepens the wound, while a swift cutting is the mercy I extend to you. You think me harsh, but I only long for you to heal more quickly. Like a physician who must cut away infected flesh to preserve life, so I must remove what silently corrupts your soul. Pain is not the sign I have abandoned you. It is proof I am still tending you with unwavering love. You often think peace comes by keeping everything around you unchanged. But true peace is not found in stillness. It is found in knowing you are safe in my arms, even as all shifts around you. The more you cling to what I have removed, the more you prolong your own pain. The more you grasp at shadows, the more fear binds your soul. You have not yet seen that the very emptiness you fear is the place I want to sow new hope. Just as a farmer must break the hardened ground before planting, I too must stir your heart so that the old no longer takes root, leaving space for new life to rise. I know loneliness feels like a weight too heavy to bear. It makes you want to return to them, to seek explanations, to mend broken fragments. But not every departure comes with a reason you can comprehend. There are things I keep as mysteries, not to torment you, but to teach you to trust. The closure you seek is not in someone's words, but in my sovereignty. Only when you choose to rest in what I have ordained will you find peace no explanation can ever provide. For my will is always born out of love, even when clothed in the garment of loss. You once prayed that you might grow, that you might become all I have called you to be. That prayer has not been forgotten. This is the answer, though, in a form you did not expect. I take away not only familiar people, but also patterns of thought habits that have held you too long. I do not do it all at once, but little by little, like gentle hands untying knots, that you may learn to walk in freedom. No longer will you see yourself through the eyes of others, but through my gaze. Then you will realize your worth has never rested in who stayed or who left, but in the truth that you belong to me. Perhaps right now you cannot believe that joy will return, but I promise you that day will come. Smiles will rise again upon your face, this time no longer shadowed by absence. I will bring companions suited to your next journey, supports that fit what lies ahead. But before you meet them, you must learn to let me be your first and greatest companion. In that in-between space where the old has ended and the new has not yet begun, I will draw you closer than ever. If you lean into me in that emptiness, you will find I am strong enough to uphold you. My child, I know you wish I would let things fade slowly so you could adjust, but some wounds fester the longer they remain. Some ties, if undone too gently, leave more scars. At times, mercy is found in swiftness. A sharp cut stings, but then it heals. A prolonged severing only wears you down. I love you too much to leave you in that limbo. So I choose what I know is best, even when you do not yet understand. Trust me, for I go before you to clear the path behind you, to protect, and beside you to accompany. You are never alone. And when you look back, you will see that every step I drew you out of the safe place was a step leading you into a new season. Just as a traveler cannot remain in the old city and arrive at the new, you cannot remain in two seasons at once. You must leave, you must walk, you must trust. But I promise in every season you will always have me. When you allow me to prune, the harvest ahead will be sweeter than you ever dared to imagine. My child, I know the hollow spaces within your soul, those places where you let others step in, where they became pillars to hold you up, the reason you endured in the rush of life. I know there were relationships that once gave you warmth, made your eyes shine again, and weariness kept you from the cliff of despair. But I also see beyond what you see. I know that some connections, though sweet and harmless for now, would become unbearable weights if you clung too long. They are but a thin cloak for a cold season, not enough to protect you through the storms ahead. They comforted you for a moment, but they cannot sustain your soul for the harsher roads I have prepared. And because I love you, I will not let you settle in a place of mere comfort when the destination I desire for you requires more. I often fail to realize that some presences take the form of support but are in fact concealment. They are like a vast tree stretching its branches over me, giving shade that seems refreshing yet blocking your light. I feel at ease beneath that shadow, but I do not know that my soul is slowly thirsting for light, thirsting for the living water. The words whispered into my ears are sweet, yet they lack the fragrance of truth. They do not heal. They are but honeyed illusions that numb the hunger of my spirit for a moment. I think I am being supported, yet in truth I am being lulled into a prolonged dream that slows me down, weakens me, and strips me of the strength to rise. You do not want to see me held back by things that do not come from you, so you must intervene even if that leaves me bewildered. You know that when you speak of removing a person, I shudder. I fear it, as if you were pulling away a breath I need to survive. My mind immediately runs to the emptiness that will follow, to the laughter that will fade, to the embrace that will be gone, to the words of encouragement that will no longer be spoken. I long to hold on, even when the other hand grows loose. Even when that presence no longer nourishes my soul as it once did. But you do not permit me to cling to what is no longer watered by your stream. If you allowed me to hold on, I would become a prisoner of the very comfort I seek. The hands that once embraced me may have been needed, but they were never meant to replace your arms. That departure is not abandonment, but a lesson that no earthly embrace can shelter my soul forever except yours. There are relationships like strands of silk around my wrist. At first they are soft, pleasant, and seem weightless. But over time they tighten, and I am no longer free to move forward. What I thought was support becomes a burden. What was once familiar turns into bondage. I may not notice it, but you see it from the beginning. You cannot allow such subtle, persistent ties to hold me back when you have prepared a vast road ahead. You love me enough to cut them away even though it causes pain for a moment. For you know that brief pain is the gateway to long-lasting freedom and meaning. I must remember, you never take anything away without purpose. You never remove just to leave me empty. Every separation carries within it a preparation. I have prayed for maturity, for strength, for wholeness. This is your answer. Maturity does not come from indulgence. Strength does not come from always leaning on familiar supports. Wholeness does not come from clinging to what has already expired. These only come when I learn to place my trust in you, even when no one else remains. To teach me this, you must pull me away from misplaced dependence, even if it makes me weep in the beginning. Do not let me misunderstand. You do not despise the relationships that once were. You see their value. You know they were blessings for a season. You want me to honor what has passed, yet also to release at the right time. Not to deny, but to be set free. Not to erase, but to open the way for what is new and deeper. I can bless those who leave, hold them in memory with gratitude without binding them to my present. This is true love, to cherish without possessing, to treasure, but also to let go when the moment comes. You will replace what no longer gives life with new connections where you are honored, where my faith is lifted, not dragged down. You will send to my side those who can move forward with me, not hold me back. They will encourage me in truth, remind me of your promises, and walk with me into the unknown. I do not need to strain to keep what you have removed, for you always give better things. But first I must be brave enough to release. Letting go is not loss. It is opening my hands to receive something greater. Beloved child, do not see pruning as punishment. See it as the necessary trimming that allows you to bear more fruit. A vine never rejoices when it is cut, but if not cut, it grows only leaves without ever yielding grapes. So it is with your life. My cutting is never to wither you, but to prepare you for fruit in a new season. Do not stay in your tears. Do not drown in emptiness. Lift your head toward what lies ahead, where I am preparing a great harvest. And when you step into that season, you will see every pain you endured was but a stepping stone toward glory. Then you will understand what I take was never meant to belong to you forever. They were lanterns to light a short stretch of the path, anchors to steady you when you were not yet firm. But there comes a time when I must lift the anchor so you can sail, when I must extinguish the lantern so you can learn to walk in the daylight of my presence. And in that moment, when you dare to go on without clinging to what is familiar, you will see that I am enough for you, more abundant than all you thought you needed. My beloved, tonight will be a milestone in your life, one of those times when I act decisively, strongly, without delay. You cannot avoid it or postpone it, for this change has long been written into my plan. I have gently warned you in many ways, through the unease within your soul, through fleeting signs you noticed, but ignored, through the emptiness you could not explain. These were not random. They were whispers I planted in you, so you would not be shocked when the door closed. Yet I know your heart will still feel heavy. You will resist, want to chase, want to stitch together what I have allowed to part. But my child, I plead with you, stop struggling, for every wrong grasp only makes your hands bleed more. Let go with grace. Surrender them back to me, for they never truly belong to you to hold forever. You were but a companion for a season, not the keeper of their life. I hold them just as I hold you. The more you cling, the more you wound yourself, and them as well. So I teach you to let go, not for loss, but to protect you both from paths without blessing. Learn to bless them, even as they walk out of your sight, for the hand guiding you is the same hand guiding them. Do not let bitterness harden your heart. Do not let anger become chains that bind you to the past. Whisper blessings, and as you do, you will find yourself set free. When you lay down tonight, I want your heart not to stir with waves of loss, but to rest in the peace of trust. Let your last thought before sleep not be, "Why did you take this away?" but a quiet whisper, "I trust. You know what you are doing." You may not understand everything, but you know I am the author of your story, and no chapter in my hand is meaningless. I have never written destruction. I only write with purpose, even when that purpose is beyond your sight. Rest in this truth: I am never against you. I am always for you. Even when all you treasure departs, I remain, holding you tightly in arms that never close. You will learn something deeper. What I remove is not rejection, but proof that I have something better prepared. I never strip away to leave you barren. On the contrary, I clear space to fill with new goodness, blessings that you could never receive while clinging to the old. Do not despair at empty hands. See them as readiness for the next gift. Loss is not the end, but part of transformation, a necessary step toward spiritual maturity. My child, remember past times when you thought you could not live without something, yet I carried you through. This time will be no different. Tonight you may cry, tomorrow you may feel emptiness, but the day after you will smile and see that I was right. You will find yourself stronger, steadier, and more mature than before. I will not let this loss wither you. I will turn it into soil for new fruit. From what seemed like an ending, I will write a beginning. From what felt like emptiness, I will bring abundance. And when you look back, you will exclaim, I was never abandoned. I was being led to something better. You are safe, in my will safe, even when you do not understand. For safety is not found in what you hold in your hands, but in whose hands hold you, and my hands have never let you go. Tonight, rest in this truth, my beloved, for when I take away, I am also the one who will fill again. Beloved one, I see clearly the fears clutching your soul. I hear every trembling breath as you cling to the hands that once made you feel safe. But my child, I did not design you to survive on the fragile shelter of men. I do not want you leaning on anyone as though they were your ultimate foundation, for only I can uphold your life completely. Those tender hands, those warm embraces, I placed them in your path for a season, but never for the whole journey. They were never meant to go with you to the end. When you cling, you only write chapters never intended in my book. And my child, what I write is always more perfect than any addition of your own. Sometimes you see another's presence as a guarantee. You think that as long as they are by your side, you cannot stray or fall. But I see beyond your limited vision. I see the destination I am preparing for you. Not all companions lead you there. Some footsteps walk only part of the way, like lanterns in the dark. That light comforts you for a while, helps you take a few more steps when the path is dim. But when the wind shifts, the flame flickers, weakens, and eventually dies, no matter how tightly you hold it. I do not want you forever standing in the dark, clutching a lantern gone out, when I am offering you the radiant sun, a light that never fades. Reflect, my child, on the relationships you hold dear. Some are like anchors. At first, their presence gave you stability, as though you could not be swept away in life's shifting currents. You grasped that safety, believing you had found solid ground, but now the current of my will has changed. I am calling you to the open sea, into deeper waters, where blessing and destiny await. The anchor, once safe, now weighs you down, keeping you motionless. You cannot both drop anchor and set sail. You must choose cling to familiar weight or lift it, and trust that I will guide you, never letting you drift astray. I know that choice is not easy. Your heart bleeds at the thought of letting go. But my child, holding on to something I have asked you to release is like trying to cling to a door that is closing. It only causes you more pain and drains your strength. You must learn to trust that when I call you to leave, it is not punishment but arrangement. When I take away a lantern, it is the moment I show you the sun. When I require you to lift the anchor, it is the moment you truly set sail on the journey I have written for you. Everything I do is to lead you into freedom, not to bind you to what seems safe, but in truth is imprisonment. Let your heart be persuaded that the departure of certain people does not mean you are abandoned. It only means the work I intended to do through them is complete. Cherish what you have received. Give thanks for the steps they once walked with you, and then gently bless them as they turn to another path. Do not let fear of loneliness make you hold on to what no longer belongs to you. Do not let the memory of safe days with them dim the bright horizon I have prepared. You will never step into the new if you keep clutching the old. Remember, you cannot embrace the past and grasp the future at the same time. My child, walk in trust. When you let go, you will find my hand holding you tighter than ever. When you lift the anchor, you will see your life's ship moving, but not aimlessly, rather flowing in the current of my will. When you dare to release the fragile glow of the lantern, you will behold the radiant dawn waiting at the horizon. I promise that you will never be lost when you let me be your shepherd. You will never be forsaken when you let me be your guiding light. You will never lose direction when you let me be your one true compass. And then you will understand that from within loss you discover fullness, for I am all that you need. My child, I know there are people and relationships so deeply rooted in your heart that you feel if they were gone you could not survive. I see that fear weaving through your every thought. I hear your sighs in the silence of the night as your mind repeats the question, if they are not here, what will become of me? But the truth is, habit has replaced purpose, familiarity has replaced fruitfulness. You no longer realize that keeping them close is not out of pure love, but out of fear of emptiness. And I, the one who created you, cannot allow you to remain trapped in a cycle that makes you small, dependent, and unable to rise to the stature I destined for you before the dawn of creation. You often do not notice that each time you lean on them to stand firm unconsciously, you drift away from me. You let another hand take the place that only I deserve. I am your first refuge, your first love, your first counsel, but you give that place to fallible people. I grieve when I see you trust them more than you trust me. I sorrow when I see you seek their words above my word, not because they are evil, but because you have placed your trust in the wrong place. You have let their presence overshadow the light I long to pour into your life. And I, a jealous God, because of my love for you, will not stand by while your heart is divided, pulled away from the true source of life. I will shake, I will send the wind so that you may see the shadow you called safety is nothing but a fragile shell unable to sustain your soul. You must understand that some people are not beside you to help you grow, but only to make you repeat yourself. They soothe your weakness instead of calling you to strength. They comfort your wounds instead of leading you into healing. They remind you of the old self I told you to leave behind, keeping you circling in worn-out places, never stepping into the promised land. You wonder why prayers seem unanswered, why your efforts leave you stuck in place. My child, it is not because I withhold blessing, but because you have walked with voices unwilling to journey with you into transformation. Like Israel wandering 40 years in the desert, not because I abandoned them, but because their hearts clung to Egypt, so it is with you. If you keep holding the hands I told you to release, you will keep circling the same mountain season after season, never entering the land I promised. I know you value loyalty, and I delight that your heart holds compassion and endurance, not easily giving up on anyone. But loyalty without wisdom becomes a chain. Misplaced loyalty binds you to what I am calling you away from. And when you remain in such attachment, my voice grows faint. You hear their counsel more, and you mistake it for safety. But their love is limited by human understanding, while my love is without limit. I see farther than their eyes can see. I know the valleys unknown to them, the peaks they have never climbed. If you keep listening to them, you will remain at the mountain's base, never knowing the glory of the summit. You must understand that sometimes their encouragement is not my calling, but only their desire to keep you in the comfort zone. My beloved, understand my heart. I do not remove them to leave you alone, but to teach you to mature. I want you to grow no longer a child needing someone's hand at every step, but an adult leaning on my strength. I will give you new relationships, companions at the appointed time to walk with you into new seasons. But they will never replace me in nourishing your soul. I will not allow anyone to take the place that only I deserve. I must do this, for otherwise you would never discover the depths of my love for you. I know there are nights you weep in longing mornings when you want to send a message, but hold back. I see it all, and I do not despise a single tear. Yet I want you to sow those tears into the soil of faith, not water a dead root. You may say, Lord, I feel so empty. And I will answer, it is in that emptiness that I will come and fill you. When you let go of their hand, you will realize my embrace has never left. When you lay down the burden, you will feel light, and that is the first step into freedom. Remember, it is not their presence that truly fills you, but mine. True peace does not come from others, but from knowing I am right beside you, even when no one else remains. True love is not something given and taken away by people, but the eternal love I set upon you before you ever existed. One thing you can be certain of, I will never let you go astray if you choose to trust me more than your fears. And one day when you look back, you will know that letting go was not loss, but release. You will see that every hand I required you to release made room for something new, for a relationship that gives life instead of hindrance. You will stand taller, breathe deeper, walk lighter, and most of all, you will find yourself closer to me than ever. My child, I never intended for you to repeat the same season, circling the same mountain. I want you to move forward, to enter the promised land, to experience the blessings I have prepared. But to do so, you must let go. Let go through tears if you must. Let go in pain if you are not yet accustomed. But you must let go, for only then will you truly be free. And in that freedom you will see that I never take away to leave you lacking, but I always make room for something better, more beautiful and rightly timed. You will see that my love for you is never confined as human love is. I have loved you with an everlasting love, and that very love will lead you all the way. My beloved child, I know in your heart there is a precious virtue. Few truly keep loyalty. It makes you slow to release, unwilling to turn away at another's flaw, reluctant to leave even when cracks appear in a bond. I am the one who placed that seed of loyalty within you, for I myself am faithful and never break a promise. But you must understand, this loyalty is only beautiful when guided by my spirit. Without my leading, that goodness can turn into a chain, keeping you in places I have called you to leave, tying you to people whose season of walking with you has ended. Loyalty without wisdom becomes stubbornness, and stubbornness sometimes leads you away from the blessing I long to give. You often mistake leaving someone as betrayal. You fear judgmental eyes, fear hurting another's heart, so you continue holding on even when your soul is worn thin. But I assure you, obedience to me is never betrayal. You are not turning your back on them, you are turning your face toward me. You are simply putting love back in its rightful place, love aligned with my will. That is the highest form of love, because it trusts that my will is best for all, even when it looks like loss. Do not forget, even my son, when he walked the earth, sometimes left the crowds, withdrew from the places where many sought him to go alone into the wilderness and pray to me. If Jesus himself needed to withdraw in obedience, then you too must learn the same. There are relationships, my child, that begin in purity and a blessed arrangement. At first, they bring mutual support, lifting and encouraging one another, walking together in the light. Yet as time passes, the balance shifts. What was once a source of strength slowly turns into a burden. What was once a shelter becomes a place that drains you. I let you feel this through the quiet weariness after each conversation, through the nameless heaviness that makes your soul sink. Do not ignore these signals. This is my whisper telling you the season has changed. Not every ending comes from fault or sin. Sometimes it is simply the redirection I have ordained, because you have already learned what you needed to learn in that connection. I see your heart where loyalty is sometimes exploited, where attachment becomes depletion. I will not let you remain in that state forever, for I know it will wear down your spiritual strength. You may think endurance is sacrifice, but sacrifice does not always mean obedience. I call you to love in freedom, not in chains. I want your love to bring forth life, not merely to sustain a fraying cord. You must understand that even loyalty has boundaries set by my own word. Pause and ask yourself, is this loyalty drawing me closer to God or pulling me away? If the answer is that it pulls you away, then it is no longer true loyalty but dependency. I did not create you to live dependent on people, but to depend solely on me. When I tell you to walk away, do so in peace, not in guilt. Obeying me is not betrayal of anyone, it is trusting that I am caring for both you and them in a better way. Believe this, when you yield to me, I will not abandon the other person either. Their life too is in my keeping and my design. So do not let blind loyalty tie you to what is out of season. Let your love be guided by my light, not by the fear of losing. You will see that when you follow the leading of the Spirit, you are not only set free, but you also leave a blessing behind. You will realize your leaving is not rejection, but an act of faith. And that very act will open new doors where you may continue to bear fruit. My child, I call you to place your loyalty to me above all else. When I am at the center, every other relationship finds its balance. Then your love for others will not twist into possession, but will become a channel for my love to flow through. You will know when to hold on and when to release, and both will be done in peace. When you learn this, you will find relief instead of weariness, peace instead of torment, freedom instead of bondage. You will walk in my guidance with hands no longer trembling from fear of betrayal, but steady in obedience. And be assured of this, when seasons change, I let you sense it. I do not leave you wandering in the dark. Every heaviness, every dryness, every faint signal in your spirit is my way of reminding you that it is time to move. All you need is the courage to listen and to obey. For I will never ask you to let go of something without already preparing something better ahead. Beloved one, I know every fracture in your heart. I see you holding back tears, though the pain of losing someone dear cannot be hidden. I do not demand that you pretend to be strong, nor force a smile while your soul is heavy. It was I who placed in you a heart capable of deep love and true compassion, so naturally you hurt when the cord of connection is severed. But you must know I am not indifferent to your pain. I hold you when you tremble. I wipe your tears as they fall, and I whisper close to your ear, you are not alone. Pain is not a sentence. It is proof that you have loved, and it is also the beginning point from which I will build in you a strength you have never known. Do not cling to what I have withdrawn, my child. You think that holding on will keep you safe, but in truth it only deepens the wound. When I remove a relationship, it is not because it had no value, but because it no longer serves the journey ahead. I prune to free, not to condemn. You see only the empty hand, but I see hands prepared to receive the new. If you keep clutching, those hands can never open, and what I have prepared cannot enter. Do not forget, I never take away without intending to give again. You often think that when someone leaves, you lose the chance to be upheld, to walk alongside. But do you not see, in what feels like loss, I am planting seeds for a new season. When I clear away fruitless connections, I am tilling the soil of your soul for new and wholesome seeds. These will be the people I choose, the voices that encourage, the hearts that uplift, to strengthen your faith. They will not cause you to doubt nor drag you into darkness, but always direct your eyes to my eternal promises. As Scripture says, iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Proverbs 2:7-1-7. I will send those who sharpen your soul, not dull it, but hone it. My child, many voices will rise around you, but not every voice nourishes faith. Some I will remove, for if they remain, they will drown you in doubt, fear, and wrong paths. I know you cherish them, but if they stay, you cannot step into the fullness I have ordained. Consider this: you do not need more voices. You need the right voices, the ones that remind you of truth, not the ones that deepen your confusion. You cannot hear me clearly if all around you is the echo of uncertainty. Thus I prune, not to leave you empty, but so that my voice may ring pure and unobscured. I promise I will send you new companions, those unafraid of the unknown. They will not confine you in a false safety, but will urge you to reach out, to advance, to walk boldly on the path I show. They will bow in prayer with you, not counsel you to give up. They will look to my promises with you, not drag you back to barren familiarity. These are relationships in which my presence is honored, where you need not hide your faith to keep someone near. On the contrary, your faith will be strengthened because of their companionship. You will no longer divide your heart between me and them, for such friendship, such love, such fellowship will all move in one direction toward me. I know there will be sleepless nights, moments when you long to send a message, to reach out, only to be met with silence. You ache because no answer comes. You yearn to hear a familiar voice again. I do not dismiss that pain, nor do I ask you to pretend separation leaves you untouched. Yet in those very nights when you turn and find no one, remember that I am still there. It is I who hold you when you sob, I who strengthen you when the old door beckons you to reopen it. I will use my grace not only to help you endure the pain, but to transform the pain into wisdom, the loss into preparation. Do you not see, every wound in my hands becomes wisdom, every tear in my hands becomes seed for the harvest? Your pain today will not be wasted. I will transform it into compassion that you may comfort others. I will turn it into strength that you may stand when trials come. I will make it into light to shine for those wandering in the dark as you once were. Do not think loss only weakens you. I am using it to build in you a depth, a strength, a maturity and faith that you have never known before. And one day, my child, you will look back and smile. You will understand that everything I removed was never meant to remain, and everything I gave was worth the waiting. You will know that today's pruning was not deprivation, but the beginning of a new season. You will lift your heart in gratitude, for through the pain you learn to let go, to trust, to know that I alone am enough. And you will see that not every loss is to be feared. Some losses are invitations to fullness. So trust me. Do not cling to what I have left behind. Do not hold on to what I have closed. Open your hands, ready your heart, for what I have prepared for you is better, greater, and more complete than anything you have lost. You will enter into a season of new life, where there is no place for empty entanglements, but only freedom in me, the one who loves you, holds you, and will never leave you behind. Beloved, I see how quickly you wish to fill the emptiness that has just formed, fearing silence will exhaust you. I know you cannot bear the void for long, so you want something to replace it at once, a new voice, a new embrace, a new presence to take its place. But my child, do not rush to replace what I have removed. I did not create the emptiness for you to patch hastily with anything you can find. That emptiness has a purpose. It is not random nor punishment, but a pause I deliberately placed so you might hear my voice in the stillness. If you fill it too soon, you will miss the most vital word. My word which you have never heard clearly amidst so many competing voices. Think carefully how accustomed you have become to the noise of emotions. How many times have I whispered within you but you did not notice because you were surrounded by advice, counsel, or even gentle words that were not truly from me. You sought them before you sought me and made them your measure of decision. That is why I must remove them, so that emptiness may become a new horizon where you hear me alone. I know this unsettles you, but this very discomfort will train your ears, making you more sensitive to my voice. As the psalm declares, truly my soul finds rest in God. My salvation comes from him. Psalm 6:2-1. Silence is not your enemy, my child. It is the ground where faith takes root, where new life springs forth. You will see when the dissonant noises fade away, I become clearer. You once thought I was silent, but in truth I have always spoken. It was only that you had never stayed in stillness long enough to hear. It is in that quiet place that I reveal to you who I am and who you are in my eyes. I will touch the hidden wounds you have never dared to face. I will uproot the old decayed roots that have held you back. I will plant new seeds of hope. And as you begin to hear me more clearly, you will realize that you do not need to replace what was lost with anything else, for my very presence is enough to fill the void. You will be surprised to find that not everyone who leaves will understand why you must move forward. There are some I remove who know nothing of my work in your life. They may look at you with reproach, thinking you have become heartless, that you have changed, that you no longer care, and you may feel confused, unable to find words to explain. But my child, you are not responsible for making them understand. My work in your life is not always easy to explain in words. Your obedience does not need justification, it only requires action. Leave their hearts to me just as I am tending to yours. Trust that I am their God as well, and I know how to work in their lives as surely as I am working in you. What I desire from you is a heart that sees relationships as I see them, divine arrangements woven into a far greater tapestry. You only see single threads, but I see the whole design. Some threads are long, others short. Some are vibrant, others subdued. Yet each one has its place. No thread is woven in vain, and no thread lasts longer than the time I have appointed. If I remove a thread, it is not to ruin the tapestry, but to preserve its beauty, to keep the coming sections in harmony. You may see loss, but I see preservation. You may feel emptiness, but I see a new space ready to be filled with light. You need only trust me that my hands are always weaving something better for you. My child's silence will teach you more than any advice. It will cause you to sit still, breathe slowly, and hear the rhythm of your own heart, the rhythm I placed there from the very beginning. It will compel you to realize that you have never truly been alone, not even when no one else stood by you. That silence will shape you into strength, for you will learn to stand without leaning on another shoulder. And when you pass through it, you will see that the emptiness which once frightened you was in fact the place where you were nearest to me. From there you will rise with a new faith, a new heart, and a new vision, not confined by fear of loss, but opened wide by steadfast trust in me. I know your heart trembles whenever you hear the word pruning. In your eyes it means loss, brokenness, and an ache that cannot be filled. You see me cutting something away from your life and think I am stealing your joy, draining your hope. But you must understand, I never take without purpose. Every cut in my hands has meaning, every release I require carries a promise. Do not fear pruning, for just like the vine, if it is not trimmed, it will only spread leaves without ever bearing fruit. You were not made to live in useless excess, but to bring forth abundant fruit. And so pruning is the way I bring you into fullness, though at first it may wear the face of pain. Remember, no season is ever the same. I cause the sun to rise and set in rhythm. I change the weather, so the earth alternates between rest and fruitfulness. So too with your soul. There are seasons of comfort, and there are seasons of testing. There are seasons when many hands hold yours, but also seasons when I require you to walk alone with me. You may not understand, but today's pruning is the guarantee of tomorrow's harvest. I have never cut away what was still useful. I only remove what has completed its purpose in your life. You remember the blossoms, but I see the coming fruit. You look back at old flowers, but I look ahead to new abundance. Think of the gardener holding the shears. He never cuts because he despises the vine, but because he loves it and desires it to bear more fruit. Each cut that seems harsh is in fact deep care. I work the same way in your life. There are hands I require you to let go of, places I forbid you to stay, bonds I ask you to release. You feel as though I take away, but truly I am making room for new life to spring forth. If everything were allowed to remain, it would drain your strength and keep you from the greater things ahead. Do not mistake my pruning for rejection. It is preparation. You often ask, why do you take away what I still love, what I still need? I answer you because I see what you do not see. I know the turns you have not yet taken, the pits you have not yet noticed. If I allowed you to cling to it longer, it would become chains around your soul. You would be trapped in smallness and miss the greater glory. You must understand, when I close a door, it is to protect you. When I remove a person, it is to guard your soul from straying. I never confine you to loneliness. I am shielding you from entering a room where my blessing no longer rests. I take away, but I also give again, and what I give is always more complete than what I remove. Think back to times before when you thought loss would destroy you, yet time proved I was right. You believed the departure of someone was the end, but later you saw I brought new people, new companionships, joys you never imagined you would find. You saw me fill the emptiness with my presence, with a peace beyond all understanding. What you called sorrow, I turned into maturity. What you called loss, I turned into wisdom. Do you see now? It was pruning that made you stronger, deeper, more reliant on me. My beloved, do not harden your heart. Tonight, as I speak to you about the one you must release, do not let fear turn you to stone. Soften your heart to hear my voice, for I will never lead you into ruin. Believe that my hand is steady, that every cut I make is not to wound you, but to bring forth fruit. You may not understand fully, but trust me. For faith is not sight. It is walking in the assurance that I am directing the story. If you choose to believe fear, you will remain bound in anxiety. But if you choose to trust me, you will find yourself stepping into a broader sky. I have created you to become all that I have destined, and whatever hinders you from that path, I will prune away. I will not permit a bond, a habit, or a fear to prevent you from becoming who I have called you to be. I love you too much to leave you stuck in smallness. Therefore, I withhold nothing truly good from you. Every good thing will be given, and more than you could ever imagine, if only you dare to let go in order to receive. Do not be afraid, my child. Like the vine, after pruning it looks bare and fragile, yet in truth it is preparing for a season of abundance. So it is with you. You will pass through days that seem desolate, but they are only pauses where hidden life gathers strength. Then you will see everything I removed had a reason, and everything I returned was worth far more. One day, when you stand in harvest, you will thank me for every hand I asked you to release, every bond I asked you to untie. You will see that nothing I cut away was meant to remain. So, my child, let your heart be tender. Choose to trust me rather than fear. Listen to my voice rather than the whispers of doubt. And let obedience lead you into a life far richer than you ever dreamed. For I am the one who loves you with unchanging love, who never abandons the work I have begun in you. You will bear much fruit. For today's pruning is only the beginning of tomorrow's glorious harvest. When I prune, you often look at your empty hands and think I have taken everything. But I see those hands as a vessel just cleansed, ready to be filled with new wine. If the vessel still clung to the old, it would have no room for what I am about to pour. Those empty hands are an invitation that you might rely on nothing else but me. Think of it, if the vine clings to useless leaves, how can heavy clusters of fruit grow? If your heart is overcrowded with people's presence, how can it make space for my full presence? You must learn to let go, to be filled again, to lose in. Order to truly gain, to empty yourself, in order to truly be satisfied. Have you not realized that often what you thought was life was only its shadow? There are those who bring laughter but leave a greater emptiness when they depart. There are praises that thrill for a moment yet enslave you to their approval. I will not let you depend on such fragile things, because I want you to have a joy that is deeper, stronger, rooted in me alone. I want your joy no longer tied to who stays or who leaves. I want your peace no longer dependent on others' attitudes, but anchored in my unchanging presence. Understand this misplaced dependence weakens you, but trust in the right place makes you strong beyond circumstance. You will see some relationships are like lanterns in the night. In the darkness, their light comforts and gives hope. But when the sun rises, the lantern becomes unnecessary, and if you cling to it, its dim glow will only keep you from beholding the blazing sun. I am the Sun of Righteousness, the light that never fades. Let me replace the fragile lanterns with my eternal light. Do not hold on to what is past its time, for in clinging you may miss what I have prepared. And know this, the light I give is never just for you, but so you may shine for others as well. I know you value loyalty. I see that beauty in you. But loyalty without wisdom becomes bondage. You call it faithfulness, I call it imprisonment. True loyalty does not mean clinging to every relationship until the end. It means being loyal to the leading of my spirit. You may love someone, but if I tell you to leave, you must obey. You may cherish a person, but if I close the door, you must trust me. Obeying me is never betrayal. It is the highest form of love because it trusts that my will is good for all, even if it costs you for a moment. Remember, not everyone who begins with you will finish with you. Even my son Jesus walked with his disciples, yet some betrayed, some denied, some left when his words became hard to accept. Yet he still loved them. He still washed the betrayer's feet, still looked at the denier, with forgiveness still welcomed back the crowds who had abandoned him. That is free love, to love without clinging, to bless without binding, to let go without resentment. And I want you to learn this very love. For when you love this way, you will no longer live in fear of loss, but in the freedom of eternity. Ask yourself what would happen if you never let go. You would find yourself burdened with a weight that grows heavier, dragging along what has already ended until you collapse. I do not want to see you exhausted when I have prepared for you a new path full of life. I love you enough to take what you cannot release, even if you weep. I love you enough to pull you from what you think is safe, even if you tremble, for otherwise you would never know true freedom. Freedom is not having many people beside you. It is knowing that even if all leave, I remain. Do you know, my child? When I prune, I do not leave you desolate. I replace absence with greater presence. I fill the void with deeper peace. I bring into your life new relationships, healthier, stronger. They will not stand with you only in joy, but will hold your hand in weakness. They will not pull you away from my path, but will encourage you forward. You will see when I take away, it is never a full stop. It is only a comma opening the way for a new chapter. I often thought that loss was something bad, but I tell you the truth. Loss is a part of the journey of growth. If you had never lost, you would never truly know the value of what remains. If you had never let go, you would never have empty hands ready to receive the new. If you had never known pain, you would never discover that I am the one who comforts completely. Loss does not destroy you. It teaches you to live in the right kind of dependence. It teaches you that only I am unchanging, never abandoning, never failing you. In time, you will learn that memory and the present do not always walk together. You may remember a person, but remembering does not mean you still need them. You may be grateful for what they once gave you without binding them to your future. I allow memory to exist as a gift, but I never intend for it to become a chain holding you back. Let gratitude replace clinging. Remember them with a smile, not with a burden. Bless them as they walk away, for the same hand leading you forward is also leading them to the place I have prepared for them. My beloved, the greater work I am doing in your life cannot contain what has grown old. I am preparing you for a greater harvest, and for that harvest the field must be cleared. The weeds, the decayed roots, the relationships that bear no good fruit must all be removed. You will not be left abandoned, but replanted in new soil where I will cause you to bear much fruit. You will see today's tears become tomorrow's morning dew upon the fields of hope. You will see that with each release a new door opens, and beyond that door lies what you never dared to dream. Beloved one, I want you to understand that pruning is not a sentence against you, but a sign that I am at work preparing for greater blossoming in your life. I know that to your eyes those cuts feel unbearably painful. They bring you tears, confusion, and questions of why I would take away what you once thought was the most beautiful part of your life. Yet look at the vine after a season of pruning, bare stripped, seemingly lifeless. It stands in the cold sky, no longer lush as before. But in that emptiness, strength gathers until the next season when new shoots burst forth and clusters of fruit weigh heavy upon its branches. So it will be with you. After the pain, after the cutting away, you will not be the same. You will be stronger, deeper, and richer in blessing. You see only the present, and so you think, I am taking away the good. But I see the future. I see the harvest yet to come, the paths yet to open, the horizons you have not yet imagined. It is because I see the whole that I dare to prune so boldly. If I allowed everything to remain as you wish, you would slowly wither among things that seem good but have already expired. I do not want you stuck in a garden drained of life. I want you planted in fertile soil near pure streams under radiant light. That is why I must cut, release, and untangle so that you will not be buried in the past. Remember this, I never cut away what is still fruitful. What I take are the things that no longer help you grow or would hinder you if you held on. You see memories, but I see outcomes. You mourn a branch that once bloomed, but I know it can no longer bear fruit. You want to cling to a hand that once lifted you, but I see clearly that it cannot carry you farther. And I love you too much to let you bind yourself to what has passed. Do not fear, for my pruning is never abandonment. When I take away, I also prepare to give. When I close, I also prepare to open. You can look back to earlier times in your life when I required you to let go. You wept, you trembled, you thought you could not survive. Yet what happened, I brought you through, and you stood firm. Not only that, but you became a different person, deeper, more mature, stronger. So why do you doubt me now? Why do you think I would harm you, my child? My love never changes. I never begin a work I do not intend to finish. And I promise you this, whatever I prune away, I will replace with something better enough to make you thank me in the days to come. Trust me more than you trust your fears. Fear will whisper to you. If you let go, you will lose everything. If you walk away, you will be alone. If you accept, you will collapse. But those are lies. The truth is, when you let go, your hands are open to receive what I give. When you walk away, you create space to step into something new. When you accept, you open the floodgates for peace to flow. Do not let the voice of fear drown out my voice. Trust my hand, for it has never released you. Trust my voice, for it has never deceived you. Trust my love, for it has never changed, even when your heart wavers. I know there are nights when you wrestle with thoughts of those you must release with the ties I am untying. You recall the sweet moments, you long for the peaceful days. But child, beautiful memories are not always reasons to hold on. Some things are meant only to be cherished in the heart, not clutched in life. You can thank me for allowing you to experience them, and you must also thank me for ending them at the right time. For if not, what was once a blessing would turn into a burden. Imagine a jar of water left too long. At first it is fresh, refreshing, but if kept without renewal, it turns cloudy, poisonous. I do not want your soul poisoned by what is old. I want you to drink living water fresh each day. That is why I remove what is no longer pure, so that you may always remain renewed in me. You may think I am harsh, but truly, this is love. A father who loves his child will not allow him to eat spoiled food even if the child cries to keep it. Tonight, when I remind you of the one you must let go, do not harden your heart. Open it and say, Lord, I trust you. Let your tears fall as an offering, not as despair. Let your pain become a prayer, and let your loss become a seed sown into the field of faith. One day you will look back and see the very tears of this night became the stream that watered tomorrow's garden of flowers. The very pruning of this season became the reason you lifted your voice in thanksgiving. My beloved, I know your heart still trembles. Every time I speak of release, fear comes like a wave sweeping your thoughts, making you feel weak and helpless. You fear that when you lose something, you will have nothing left to hold, no one to walk beside you, no strength to stand. But my child, remember this. I never withhold what is truly good for you. I only take what hinders, what holds you back from moving forward. And I, the one who loves you, will never abandon you on an unfinished road. I am always there, my hand stretched out, guiding each step. If you look with eyes of faith, you will see clearly I have never left you, not even in your loneliest hour. You often think that blessing means never losing, that I only give and never take away. But the truth is different. My love is not to let you live in temporary comfort, but to transform you into fullness. Sometimes blessing is not in what you cling to, but in what you release. For when you release, you make space for the new. When you open your heart, you allow me to fill it. That is why pruning is not a sign of withdrawal, but proof that I am still at work in your life. As Scripture says, a father who loves his child disciplines him, so it is with me. I prune and correct because I love, not because I desire to harm. Let your heart be enlarged. Do not let small anxieties rob you of vision. You were not born to live in limitation, not bound to trivialities. You were created to reflect, my glory to bear, my image to reveal my love and power to the world. To do this, I must remove everything that dims that light. You may call it loss, but I call it preparation. You may call it an ending, but I call it a beginning. You may call it emptiness, but I call it fertile ground, ready to receive new seeds. Pause and remember every promise I have spoken in the past. The promise that I will never leave you nor forsake you. The promise that I will give you a future and a hope. The promise that all things work together for the good of those who love me. These promises have not lost their power. They are not dimmed by circumstance nor erased by tears. You may change, but I do not. You may be weak, but my strength remains complete. You may stumble, but my hand is ever ready to lift you up. Therefore, when I prune, trust that I am preparing to fulfill my promises in you. Beloved child, tonight, as you close your eyes, I do not want your last thought to be anxiety. Do not let the voice of fear repeat that you are losing everything. Let the voice of trust declare, the Lord knows what He is doing. You do not need answers to every question. You need only one certainty. I still hold the pen writing your life story, and I have never written a chapter without purpose. Every chapter, whether of tears or laughter, has meaning, each a part of the greater picture I have already designed. Rest in my love, my child, for that love is your fortress, your safe refuge. You do not need full understanding to be safe, for safety does not come from knowing everything, but from knowing to whom you belong, and you belong to me. That alone is reason enough for you to rest in peace, free of unrest and fear. Tonight, let your tears become seeds of hope, let your sighs become prayers, and let your sleep be the place where I whisper. Tomorrow is the dawn of a new season, a season I have prepared abundant with fruit. And when the morning breaks, you will see a new light. Not the light of the past, not the light of what is faded, but the light of the future I am opening before you. Each ray will remind you that I am faithful, that I watched over you through the night, that I held you, even in your sleep, that I never once abandoned you. You will step into the new day with courage, for you will know I am the one who goes before you, the one who walks with you, and the one who follows behind. You are not alone, not forsaken, not forgotten. You are sheltered in my will, and in that you will always be safe. Now I open my heart wide and lift to you my most sincere prayers, with nothing hidden, nothing concealed, only to pour out all that lies deep within me. Almighty God, who knows every path I walk today, I kneel in the trembling of my soul. I see the things you have taken away from my life, and my heart feels as though I have lost a part of myself. Yet I believe that nothing you remove is ever without meaning. Grant me eyes of faith to see that behind the closed door you have already prepared a new way. Teach me not to cling to what no longer bears fruit. Teach me to believe that when you cut away, you are truly healing. I am weak, yet strengthen me so that I may not lean on people but wholly on you. I know there are nights when I collapse in the dark, but remind me that morning will come again and the sun you promised will shine upon my path. Father, there are nights when I lie awake haunted by memories, by faces no longer near, by laughter that has sunk into silence. I clutch my memories like ashes in my hands, and my heart aches to realize they can no longer warm me again. Forgive me for the many times I accused you because I did not understand your wisdom. Teach me to bow my head even with tears flooding my soul. Replace the emptiness in my heart with your presence, that I may learn to smile again, not because I have enough, but because you are enough. Wipe away my tears and transform them into seeds, so that one day I may reap new joy in you. Loving Creator, I once sought safety in human arms, but now I see that no one can replace you. Forgive my weakness, for so often I listen to their voices more than to yours. Lift me out of false dependencies and set me firmly upon the foundation that is you. I renounce the habit of running to people before I run to you. Teach me to be still before you, to hear your voice in the silence. Turn my trembling into faith, my confusion into steadfastness, and let me give thanks for every hand you once allowed to pass through my life, but now give me courage to place them into yours. Gracious Father, I thank you for not letting me cling to what would only hold me back. I know you are jealous for my heart and will not allow it to be divided by any idol. Forgive me for so many times giving others first place, letting their opinions weigh heavier than your promises. Today I return this heart to you, soften it to learn to trust. When a door closes, let me see not a dead end, but an invitation into a new chapter. Grant me patience to wait for the companions. You will send those who will strengthen my faith and join me in honoring your name. Father, I am weak and I cannot hide it. I have wept longing to turn back to pull people close again. Yet deep within I know I was resisting your will. Do not let me return to what you have already ended. Grant me the resolve. You possess the strength never to reopen a door you have shut. Teach me not to ask why, but to answer, yes, Lord. Let my faith not falter in the night, but trust that your dawn is certain. I believe you never take away without preparing something better. Give me gratitude even in my pain, that I may not waste what you are teaching me. Great shepherd of my soul, you know all my fears. I fear loneliness, walking alone, the silence that surrounds me. Yet, Father, turn that silence into your voice, that emptiness into a meeting place with you. Walk with me in my trembling, that I may learn you go before me and follow behind to guard me. Do not let my heart cling to the fragile light of lanterns, but teach me to trust in the radiant sun of your presence. I know you are the light that never fades, and you have promised never to forsake me. Almighty God, I lift to you the broken pieces of my heart. I do not know how to mend them, but I believe you can transform wounds into streams of new life. Use this painful experience to teach me compassion for those who are falling. Let my life become a testimony that you still work through tears. Do not let me bury myself in memories, but lead me boldly into the new season. I know not one tear is wasted. Every drop is remembered by you and waters the seeds of faith to grow. Merciful Father, I pray, you turn my pain into wisdom, transform my wounds into testimony. Use this loss to shape me into someone stronger, steadier, and deeper. I do not want to see departure only through bitter eyes, but with a heart of gratitude. Grant me the vision from above to see that the tapestry you weave is greater than what I can behold. Give me courage to say, your will be done, not mine. And when I have learned this, let me walk in true freedom, no longer afraid of losing anything, for I know I will never lose you. Beloved Father, I bring you my weakness. I confess my fear, my weariness, my frailty, yet I know you do not despise my weakness. Show your strength through it. Grant me faith to believe that one swift cut in love is better than a long, dragging pain. Grant me patience to wait for the harvest that follows pruning. Give me light to see absence not as darkness, but as a door you open to newness. Help me believe you are preparing what surpasses my imagination. Almighty God, I admit I lack courage. Each time you close a door, I want to reopen it. Each time you take away, I want to chase after it. Forgive my stubbornness. Teach me that resisting you only prolongs the pain. Give me a submissive mind and a soul at rest in your hands. Pour into me a fresh trust to know that you prune not to empty me, but to fill me. Let obedience no longer feel like a burden, but become my joy. For I believe you always know what is best for me. Father, I thank you for loving me too much to let me remain bound to the old. I thank you that every painful parting has been a stepping stone towards something better. I know you prune me so I may bear much fruit. Thank you for every person you allowed into my life, for every memory, every smile, every word of comfort. And thank you for teaching me that love is not only about holding on, but also about letting go at the right time. I praise you for staying beside me in tears, turning loss into preparation and sorrow into strength. Lord, I thank you for not allowing me to live in the illusion of false security. You remove what could become chains so that I may live free. Thank you that you never leave me in emptiness, but always fill it with your presence. Thank you for whispering to me in my loneliest nights. I praise you that you never take away without giving in return. I believe what you prepare always surpasses what I lose. Gracious Father, I thank you for the grace that carried me through dark days. Thank you for not letting me collapse when my heart longed to run back to the past. Thank you for strengthening me when I wanted to reopen the doors you had closed. Thank you that your grace is not only sufficient for me, but abundant enough to turn wounds into wisdom. I am grateful that you have shown me in surrender. There is freedom in loss, there is preparation, and in farewell, there is a new harvest. Creator, I give thanks for the new companions. You have brought those who strengthen faith and walk with me in honoring your name. Thank you for replacing fragile human arms with the strong embrace of your own. Thank you for turning the pain of parting into the drive to move forward. I praise you for teaching me I need not hide my faith to keep someone near, but may boldly live in truth, for those you send will glorify you with me. Father, I cannot fully express my gratitude to you. Thank you for turning every loss into an opportunity to draw nearer to you. Thank you for teaching me that true joy is not in clinging, but in following you to the end. Thank you for walking with me even when I trembled. Thank you for holding me through the dark nights, so that I was never truly alone. I praise you for being the one who never abandons me, and because of this my heart finds eternal rest. Loving Lord, I thank you for not letting me remain trapped in fruitless things. Thank you for removing what I thought was necessary to teach me that only you are enough. Thank you that silence is not for confusion, but for hearing your voice more clearly. Thank you that every tear is not wasted but treasured as a seed sown into your promise. Thank you for the relationships that came, that left, and that left their mark on my life, like threads in the tapestry you are weaving. Thank you that nothing lost in your hands is ever meaningless. Father, I thank you for loving me too much to let me live in false dependencies. Thank you for showing me the truth even when it hurt. Thank you for patiently shaping me, though I resisted often. Thank you for your holy jealousy, proving that my heart is too precious to be shared with any but you. Thank you for preparing new companions at the right time in the right season. Thank you for being the gracious Father who never closes a door without opening a better one. Lord God, I thank you for turning emptiness into a place of closeness with you. Thank you for not letting me rush into replacements, but teaching me to wait. Thank you for helping me remain still to discern your voice among 1,000 others. Thank you for opening my eyes to see that absence is not punishment, but preparation. Thank you for those who have passed through my life, for through them I have learned much. Thank you that you are writing the next chapter of my life with everlasting love which no one can erase. Beloved Father, I thank you for the pruning, for without it I would never know the harvest. Thank you that pain is not a full stop, but a comma in the journey of growth. Thank you for teaching me that my worth is not defined by who stays or leaves, but by belonging to you. Thank you that in loss I see your presence more clearly than ever before. Thank you that you turn every tear into seed, every wound into testimony, every emptiness into opportunity for your glory. Almighty Lord, I lift up thanksgiving for your unchanging love. Thank you for walking with me each step, going before, to prepare, behind, to protect, beside, to support. Thank you for never abandoning me, even when I thought I had lost everything. Thank you for knowing what I need more than I know myself. Thank you for the great tapestry you are weaving, in which I am but a single thread, yet of deep meaning. Thank you for the hope that never fades, that after every pruning a new season of fruitfulness awaits, where I will lift songs of praise to you forever. I offer this prayer in the holy name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, so together we may build a strong community of faith.